Welcome to Voices Unheard. My name is Niquasia Tut and I will be your host today. Today we will be addressing a crisis hiding in plain sight, mental health in youth and first generation. Too many of us are silently carrying the weight of stigma, family expectations, and pressure. 1 in 5 teens live with mental health conditions. Suicide is the leading cause in Latinx youth. Suicide rates doubled in the last decade in the Black community. Students have a higher rate of mental health issues due to school and family. But the numbers only tell a part of the story. What's harder to measure is the stigma. In refugee and immigrant communities, mental health isn't just misunderstood, it's often invisible. Youth are told to be strong, not complain, and be grateful. But those messages silence real pain.
Some of the judgments or misunderstandings that I've faced, especially in my family context, is people misunderstanding what depression actually means or anxiety. And so when folks don't want to try to make a deeper understanding of the issue, it makes it much harder to address it.
Misunderstandings and judgments that I face regarding mental health and mental wellness is that going to therapy is just for quote unquote crazy people. This is an issue that needs to be dealt with alone by the individual rather than larger society.
I've faced prejudice just for the way I look, the clothes I wear.
بمجتمعنا هيدا اللي احنا عايشين فيه هلا مش كل الاشخاص بتستوعب الاشخاص الثانيه. like هلا اذا كان عندي مشاكل يعني او ضغط نفسي فيني اشخاص ثانيه بتاخذه بطريقه ثانيه.
I think a lot of misunderstandings that I faced is about me wearing hijab and about me being Muslim. I think just growing up in that environment, I faced a lot of stigma against it and I felt a lot of pushback.
When it comes to judgments or misunderstandings, is this idea that expressing the need for help is a sign of weakness. I think it shows that you have a lot of emotional maturity.
Conversations don't happen as frequently because folks are afraid of addressing their own issues, and maybe they've never had the opportunity to talk about it before, so they don't really have the words to describe it.
اللي لازم احنا نسويه لحتى الشخص يغير نظرته بهذا الشيء انه لما انا اجي احكي لك هلا شو انا عندي مشاكل صحيه اكون عندي جرأة انه انا عم بحكي هذا الشيء وانت لازم تكوني عم تسمعين.
I think these conversations are happening enough in our communities because as Hispanic men, our trauma and our daily struggles have become normalized. It's very normalized to just hide your feelings and take it.
I feel like these conversations aren't happening enough in our communities because of the same stigma that comes with dealing with your mental health issues on your own.
I think first, the idea that people are aware it's a very sensitive subject and they don't want to say the wrong thing.
I think these conversations aren't happening enough because people are really scared to have these conversations if they're not, saying the right thing.
One thing that's really helped is finding allies in my family. So one of my cousins, for instance, she's a social worker. And when we have these conversations, I know that someone in my family gets what I'm going through. But for myself personally, just finding ways that I can get space from that, like exercise, talking to friends, making music.
What helps me push back against the stigma and stay grounded is continuing to have and search for support groups that are related to my ethnicity. As a Hispanic woman, as a Latina, it makes me feel that I'm not as alone.
لحتى نقدر نحن نساعد فيه لاي شخص قاعد عم يحكي لازم يعني نفتح له راسنا مخنا حتى نقدر نستوعب هذا الشخص شو عم يحكي ونعطيه نصايح حتى ما يتدمر نفسيته.
What helps me push back against the stigma and stay grounded is the love my family has for me. And we've learned how everybody's feelings are valid and we need to be more understanding of each other.
I think honestly just having a support system, having my family and friends always around, people who were open to the idea of learning more.
Something that helps push back against stigma and stay grounded is really practicing radical authenticity, really being open and transparent with, as comfortable as you can. It really sets the tone for others and it really normalizes the idea of having those conversations.
You are seen, you are valued, and your story matters. Joining us now are 2 first-generation youth who've experienced this firsthand.
Hi, my name is Rania. In middle school, people used to make fun of me for being Muslim. They would yell Allahu Akbar mockingly and call me terrorist. This made me really insecure and hide part of who I was. I let it get to me. My confidence dropped and I didn't really feel like myself. But talking to my mom helped. She reminded me that there's nothing wrong with me. Finding a community filled with people who understand me made me feel less alone. Now I'm confident in who I am.
Hi, my name is Melanie. Sports took a toll on my mental health. The pressure to be perfect and the fear of showing weakness, it all became too much. Basketball was once my safe space, but as time went on, it felt like a chore. I felt like I had to constantly push myself to just keep going. Because of how bad my mental health got, these groups offered support and they helped me get through these hard times that I struggled with. These support groups, they offered their voices and they listened as I vented to them about my problems. Reaching out and having that support group really affects your mental health and it makes it better. So don't be afraid to reach out and tell people about your feelings.
This is Voices Unheard. Thank you for watching.